Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. This is to my Muslim brothers and sisters who do not know how to supplicate to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You'd be surprised. How is it that there are people who don't know how to supplicate? There's a difference between observing salah and supplicating to Allah. Supplicating to Allah is like you presenting your needs before Allah and asking for His face that He should come rescue you. He should attend to your needs. He should attend to your requests. So some people don't know how to do this. The only thing they know how to do is to stand in prayer mat, observe their salah, and that is all. They don't know how to make requests. Now, these are some of the few things I've gotten in my DM. Some will tell you that whenever they want to supplicate to Allah, that they become shy at the point and their prayer mat. When they want to supplicate, they become shy. Others will tell you that the reason why they don't know how to supplicate is because they don't understand Arabic, while others will tell you that, okay, well, I don't know how to supplicate to Allah, but I actually pay people to pray for me. The prayer you make for yourself is far more important than the prayer people make for you. It is okay for you to seek that somebody should pray for you, but you also know that it is more important for you to pray to Allah, because Allah is the one who is free from needs, while we the servant, we are filled with needs. And what did Allah tell us? That He have it in bounty. Whatever you seek, He have it. He's going to give it to you. And Allah also tells us that He is closer to us than our jugular vein, which means that He knows everything that we lack. He knows everything that we seek. He knows all of our worries. But still He said, ask and it shall be given. So it is okay for you to pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala without you having an intermediary. The other reason why you should understand that the speaking of Arabic is not a determinant to worshiping Allah, because this is the reason why many people are also following the Arabic speaking companies like Saudi Arabia. They are taking a leaf on how to worship Allah from them, as if those people, Jannah is decree for them, which is not true. Our total guide as a Muslim is the Quran and the Hadith, which is the Sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ. The Arabians, they are not our guide in Islam. They are not your teacher in Islam. The same way you can become a victim of hellfire, that is the same way they can become a victim of hellfire, which is in every rules and regulation that's been stipulated in Islam about paradise and Jahannam is applicable to every mankind, including the Arabians. So they are not a dictator on where you should end up. So you should not be taking the leaf of Islam from them, except that they are teaching you the Quran and the Sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ. In Surah Al-Ikhlas, verse 2, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala describes Himself as As-Samad, which is Allahu Samad, which means that what? He is the one to whom every creation goes to for their need and their request. Ikrimah reported Ibn Abbas saying that this simply means that all of Allah's creation, everything, animals, human, trees, water, everything on earth, run back to Allah for their needs, for their requests, and Allah attend to them. Why? Because He is the Master who is most perfect in His sovereignty. He is the most noble who is perfect in His nobility. He is the magnificent who is perfect in His magnificence. He is the most forbearing who is perfect in His forbearance. He is the all-knowing who is perfect in His knowledge. He is the wise who is perfect in His wisdom. He is the one who is in charge of all authority and nobility. And there is no one on earth and in heaven who deserve all of these attributes except Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This particular verse is trying to tell us that Allah is the one in charge of every creation, and you are part of Allah's creation. And since we all run back to Him for our requests, then He will do it for us. So which means that there is nobody that Allah has created as a special person that can talk to Him, and there are not those that Allah have seen less as a person that can supplicate to Him. The problem you are having in supplication is that you are not directly connected to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And one of the major reasons that could be the curse is the way you observe your salah. Some of you rush your salah, because when you are calm during your observation of salah, it actually gives you the spiritual connection to your Lord, especially when you are in sujood. Take your time. You need to stop praying salah on autopilot. So you are standing there and Allah Akbar, Allah Akbar. Like, say there is no connection. You're just doing it because you have to do it so that it will not be written against you that you did not pray. Even your ablution, you need to pay attention to it. So you need to calm down and do the right ablution. You need to calm down and pray your salah the right way. You need to be in a calm state. That is why we are told that if you're hungry and it is time for prayer and you know that the food is almost ready, you can perceive it and you know that it's going to cause you distraction, go and eat first before you pray. The khushu in your salah, the attention you pay, the consciousness that you pay to your salah, hoping that Allah should accept the salah from, because yes, your salah can be rejected. Why? Because God don't need your worship. Everything you're doing, you're solemnly doing it for you. That's number one. Then number two, when you are directly connected to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala through your salah, every other thing you would find ease in it. Talking to him becomes easy. Number three, we are limiting ourselves when it comes to learning of Islam. There are people who think that they are too busy to learn more about Islam. Some think that they are too old, some think that they are too young. And these don't used to be the case before. That was why an older person before will put their hand on your head and they will pray for you. And when they say that so shall it be, it will be. Not just because of their age, but because of their spiritual connection to God. But these days, everybody is limiting themselves. What am I trying to say? You need to push yourself to understand some of the language that you speak. It's just like you speaking in tongues and you're not understanding the spiritual tonguing. If the only verse of the Quran that you know how to pray with is Surah Al-Ikhlas, Falaq and Nas, you should at least try and know the meaning. Surah Al-Fatiha, you should know the meaning. This will help you to connect to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. These three surah are actually very broad. You think that they are small surahs for you to just use and rush your prayer, but they are actually very broad, which means that you can spend hours in salah reflecting on this particular surah, just like the other people recite Surah Al-Kahf, Surah Al-Mulk, Surah Al-Baqarah, and spend time in salah. You can recite a long and lengthy surah and you are not still connected to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in salah. So it is not about how long the surahs are, it is about how you reflect to the surah when you are reciting them. You understand? So learn to understand what you are saying. Even if you don't have the time to learn about the whole of the Quran, learn to understand at least the surahs that you are using to observe salah. This will help you. I'm going to give you an example. For instance, you are observing salah with Surah Al-Ikhlas. For instance, you're observing salah with Surah Al-Ikhlas and you have a problem you want to talk to Allah about. And then, while you are reciting, you're like, Kul huwa Allahu ahad. Then you remember the meaning, which means, say, He is Allah the One. He is Allah the One. It's not just a sentence. There is more to that. Let me tell you more about it. Allah is describing Himself here as one God with no partner. One God who seeks for no help. One God without a wife, without a son, without a child. He is Allah and the creator of the whole universe, which means that you cannot ascribe any partner in worship with Him. Then you go to the second verse where it says that Allahu Samad. This place, Allah is describing Himself as the one who is the giver, which every other creation rely upon. Every creation rely on Him. So now at this point, you're thinking about it that the rich, the poor, the privileged, the less privileged, they all rely on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, which means that I belong to the category of one of those people, and that means that I can be favored by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Then you go on. This is the way you reflect. You know the one that is my most favorite is Surah Al-Fatiha.